And then you see today, I think I mentioned yesterday, in fact, that there was a lot of pressure people were putting on Kamala Harris. Like, why hasn't she done an interview yet? Why hasn't she done a press conference yet? You think that she would want to get out there and flex that. And of course, Republicans or people right of center think that she's incompetent and they're trying to protect her from these questions and from the press so she doesn't make a fool out of herself because she doesn't know that much about this stuff. And people on the left are like, well, she hasn't done it yet, but she'll do it at some point.
Yeah, but the right saying she's incompetent, isn't that the argument that either side is trying to make about the other side?
Basically, yeah, that they're not suitable for office and that they're the bad choice. And then they say today, oh, there's an agreement. And I think it was CNN. They said Kamala Harris is going to do an interview with CNN. And I go, oh, that's good. Okay, well, let's see how that goes. Maybe there'll be some interesting moments from this. And then they said the interview is going to be with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And immediately I thought to myself, and I see people defending this like crazy, but I think it's kind of a partisan stance to defend it this way. They go, look, Trump did an interview and he had J.D. Vance with him. This is the same thing as that. And if you pull yourself back, I don't think it is. The people weren't screaming that Trump wasn't doing any interviews. Trump does plenty of interviews and plenty of press conferences, and they're chaotic and wild, and you take from them what you take from them.
To be fair, Trump would probably rather do interviews without J.D. Vance. That just means more time for Trump.
Yeah, he does not want anybody else taking his spotlight. He's said as much in one of the interviews. I don't know if it was that absolutely wild one with the black journalists or another one where he said the vice presidential pick doesn't matter.
I think it was at the black journalists conference.
Yeah, wherever that was, he's flat out said, like, man, nobody cares about the vice president. It doesn't matter. It has no impact on things. So that's how he feels about things. So there's been no shortage of Trump answering questions at press conferences. You just might not like the answers. The right's criticism is that Kamala Harris should face this kind of scrutiny and sit down, and then we could see how she responds to policy questions and criticisms, maybe about like flip-flopping on things or whatever.
And I totally agree with that, but the screaming from the right in order to, like, why hasn't she done the press conferences or the interviews? Like, that's not going to change y'all's mind. So once she does it, then what? They're going to scream about how it was rigged and edited, and then what? Like, it's just a vicious circle of no one's pleased with anything.
The only way to get around that would be if you do the interview absolutely live. Because otherwise, if it goes off and she looks good, I agree. I think that people who don't like her politically will say, well, they just edited all the bad stuff out. They always do that. They
can't trust the media
on the questions, and they'll have different concerns about this. But for them to agree to do an interview, but then do it, it's like the Step Brothers meme when Will Ferrell and what's his name go on the interview together, and the interview as a duo. You should have fought back on the accusations that Kamala Harris can't handle an interview like this with her proving it. Put her out there by herself and let her do this. It looks like training wheels are on during this, but I've seen so many people just very, very strongly defending this. To me, I think all of these people who want to run this country should be sitting down for long form interviews, should be doing press conferences and taking freewheeling questions from the press, and should be in like sort of a pressure cooker so we could see what they think about things and not just rehearse stuff, like real deal stuff. That's how I feel about that.